Hello, America. This is totally positive. See, everyone's telling you to believe things that are wrong. So when you have bad things that like the World Trade Center attack, they make clearer the discernment of what is true always, not denying exceptions. See, we have the investigations of the World Trade Center attack recorded in collusion with it, per their roles with recorded justice racketeering, originally and still, and it's intercampuses. Now, even if the whole thing is made up by them, interbranch, individually grouped together, they're already recorded how maintained, having been maintained, not only criminally foreign influence, but self-valued criminally foreign influence, and not only that, having been exploited and being exploited, but without their discernment of it, and they couldn't fathom it because this was sophistication before they were, the same way the people entering overt criminal enterprises on and off campuses are in collusion with them. Kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active lies, progressive lies, and identity thefts, frauds, and worse than racketeering lies with the branches of government themselves and intermilitary. Lawyers and people who work for them are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them with crime methods, pretending people make conspiracy theories and spreading lies as interbranch families and all tied to them, pretending they had conversations with people. And then more and more people say they don't understand people. I asked you to respond to confessions regarding Hartford courts with areas predicate acts roles, on off and wrongdoing roles, sequence shifts, falsified police reports roles, identity theft roles, um, forms of it, roles attaching people of each age, kids, to fake locations through time, fake sequence release, fake relationship. They forge names, switch lead names, leave no one anywhere means to communicate with anyone. Where they pretend other contexts used to pretend other into databases no one's watching, lying, fake lies about transcripts. This is databases originally and still. So what happened with the World Trade Center attack leading up to it, interstates, Washington, D.C., further Pentagon manifest, World Trade Center, other nations, equivalents, further manifest, only counters, only place with means to counters overt negative value nature progressions, action natures like wars, like chemical weapons, were involved with that which freaked everyone out. And so now we have all these other nations with remote uses of our directors recorded. At the same time, everyone's a victim. You know, say, but we can't leave them to say who's everyone's great people and who's not good people, because all they're doing that is to keep positive everyone criminal ceaseless nature rules. See, an invention can work positive or negatively, it can work or not, but then it is further positive or negative and not. In demonstration of the identity of relativity, actually, and in demonstration of the first volume, that whatever the identity of it that we know generates things and generated things to be here in the first place before it could even bang into each other. See, we have acceptations of reality, of the words we have to say offensively, criminally denatured, tactically denatured. We have the revelations of internation sciences and of individually grouped and together. They understood what, that, and how and why they are manifest that way. Because one identity of value progression that is just self-generating more of its identity of volume is through same way our identity is, through a whole bunch of other identities it is generating simultaneously as a complete nature that wants to stay that way, because that's how our nature forces us to be grouped in species too, because it will only stay positive unto itself. See, but now we have value nature systems that are tactically ulterior from the ones free speech was meant for, from the one free speech was meant for, from the one freedom of religion was meant for, religions were meant for one. No, so this is forcing people to play positive, come out of the fake positive and negative treatments as criminal ceaseless natures, where they're using temporary positive forced only to be self-valued as quality of diffusion and as itself as negative value nature, even though it's automatically temporary positive, because this is where and how. Now, this is theory, but this is more probable, and this is real than what scientific consensus and scientific process that they claimed is most plausible. So there were evidence reception processes recorded themselves involved with evidence reception organized crime method originally and still using identity nature, how the identity of volume works as revealed by the ancients, as English is revealed as evidences teach. Part of the evidences is how scientific consensus and scientific process claimed by the identities of the ground, natures and statues of campuses, all of them, all ages and natures of them. See, now what they claim is practical is evidence itself, originally and still. Like, for example, what they claim is teaching about history when they teach about what Jim Crow laws were about. These are simultaneous. We'll examine. So we'll have instant evolution. We'll have instant means for to agreements and to speculate to envision things that no one can vision now, because everyone's entertaining what you can't entertain and afford free speech with no sequential, because we have criminally foreign influence stewards as victims, but as victim predators, and they want to control the speech. So if they want to control the speech, then respond for their predicate acts and for their predicate act methods roles, and don't pretend it's me being hard, charging people with predicate acts, even though I'm not a police form, a criminal, or a judge. They're originally and still recorded per what is actually recorded reality. Delusions wrought criminally foreign influence used remotely in relationship to what, it's not prejudice will put Jim Crow laws. That's a breaching method. It was one involved with the fact human nature, torture, and slavery of our founders. We don't have that because they want to keep divided and conquered, and everyone blamed all that causes on other than other things, others themselves. Breaching entrenched uses of that roles. They want to keep each age of of course the schools in the cities are different, are just sickly distinctly hurt and compared to the suburban schools, because this is intercampuses of each age and nature per method that was designed and is effectively keeping everyone blaming other things and others themselves for what it kept, and keeps everyone self-valuing roles with premises treatments that way, with sequence treatments that way, in collusion with abridged sciences, in collusion with abridged constitution, breaching screen roles, pretending other. That's what Jim Crow laws are about. the breaching screen pseudo-positive, pseudo-patriotism, that we have leaders that now can't speak for all states, areas, and locations. All sciences leaders can't speak for and defend themselves at the same time, not by accident. They are victims, victim predators, where they won't follow. They want to use their identity, the ground locations. They want to use. They want a self-value title mean what it doesn't. In fact, preventing it what it does mean from being used as evidence. When you hear people speak about Jim Crow laws, it is easy to discern criminally foreign influence locations, areas, states, sciences, sequences, victim reactions, uses of them remotely since before computers with database relationships, live progressions from those stewards towards those positions, where each identity of group is also made sick, overtly, insidiously, and overtly and simultaneously insidiously, kept needing to hide the live progressions of the identities of the groups. See, the identities of the branches of government individually grouped it together were used by a sophistication that was entrenched here since before each modern nation's founders. But before their founding parents were even born, nations individually grouped it together were in a semi-ancient trap, forced to be unities individually grouped it together, not by accident, needing to defend that, not by accident, simultaneously further and further incapable of affording understood how we're really supposed to be grouped, individually grouped together. What really, how we're really supposed to answer questions, how logic really works. See, now this is where we have various natures of courts in collusion with various natures of police forms, in collusion with their interbranch locations, having been used to hide their victim roles, blaming other things, others themselves, for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures against them. Individually grouped and together, effectively having been maintained originally and still. Roles with predicate acts against other things, others, and against themselves. To hide their roles, blaming other things, others, themselves. They're used remotely. And it's worse than that because then everyone, the way they do it is how they use identity of the ground. Ties to our quality of fact treatment nature. Each identity of the ground difference. It was exploited where no one's looking. Because no one's looking also where they're putting fake transcripts into databases. The CIA, the FBI, the transition into the home Department of Homeland Security, on off the Department of Homeland Security offices in Hartford, Connecticut. The ground distinction of the BB, boot black, and or whatever else it might stand for also, if it does. Across the street from the Department of Homeland Security in Hartford, Connecticut. Other buildings next to on off Fox Connecticut News are involved with a whole bunch of people, and that's in Hartford, Connecticut. A whole bunch of people from my town interbranch involved with predicate acts through time. It's not complicated. These are ones with roles with the World Trade Center attack. They have a whole bunch of foreign and domestic nations involved with predicate acts and with organized predicate act methods, uses of roles with the libraries of all ages and natures, intercities too. Weathersfield Library, further involved with a whole bunch of police forms and foreign families involved with Central Connecticut State University with predicate acts. Influence to them from off the campuses by courts and by police forms and by all private tied to them kept needing to hide the same life progressions. They also train prison stewards with that campus, recorded, confessed, and demonstrate also with their family members. involved with also what is with Olympics, further involved with medical organized crime with child offenders. Former director of the FBI down, Robert Luskin. His lawyer, Robert Chevery, down the street from Harriet Beecher Stowehouse, Mark Twain House, no, right next to each other. That time period used. Down the, now, other people from my town, intercities to that location involved with various natures of courts, confessed, recorded, demonstrated, involved with areas crimes, and then on off their locations to hide that leading up to and since the Trade Center attack because they're involved with justice racketeering, worse than racketeering, worse than war crimes. They're involved with programs with words, how the programs for this, well, this state needs jobs too. We have the Justice Department, they're all connected. So we're gonna have this Washington, D.C. World Trade Center. We agreed to be psychologists, nut bags together. We have a whole bunch of nations involved with logic or racketeering, sequence racketeering, physical delusions into branch while they simultaneously prevent writing. So they prevent means to calmly defend ourselves from predicate acts, from identity thefts, sequence shifts, forging names, switching names, uses of that compounding while this is a sustained method that originally and still kept them currently effectively. Each location, area, state, and sciences effectively self-valued, abridged, self-valued, criminally foreign influence sequence treatments, premises treatments, active body value treatments, identity treatments, regardless of opinions. Before democracy is value, while it is value and beyond its value, is the value of the nature of the law, the identity of the nature of the law, which is not a sequence nature alone, is a simultaneous nature, is all identities of sequence nature at once bonded, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. There are two identities of sequence nature that are beyond us, before and after us, but they are simultaneously relevant now. As how five bonded identities of sequence nature are all this also incorporates the trinity we are as the value of the order to the finite. This is not for religious faith. This is not this faith is about how this science, how the science, the identity of the science is shared, the identity of relativity, how the first volume, how logic works. See, we have the identity that ratiocination and that pseudo ratiocination share simultaneously, worse than obfuscated by the professionals of psychology. Now they'll hear this and they'll write it down and pretend it's theirs, leaving out all the natures of organized crime associated with them and their family members, associated with all kinds of natures, all the natures of courts, and the same natures of courts, involved with them personally, criminally, involved with them stacking names. That's why they're so hyper offensively about who's a good person, who's not. That's all we hear on TV. That's all they'll allow the kids to know is criminally foreign influence premises treatments. So criminal insidious natures, fake integrity, people involved with human trafficking, attaching people to fake locations, lying about the behavior of others in relationship to that. So we don't have one industry liberated. We don't have one branch of government liberated originally and still. And everyone's blaming other things other than themselves, not by accident. We're in a semi-ancient trap that we're doing that. All formal sophistication was only capable of defending themselves and doing that with their premises treatments, not by accident. This took over the sophistication. This also converted everyone to roles being fakes, calling other people's liar. Interbranch people call people liars and have other people call people liars while they spread rumors through people, lies through people. Tactically, intercampuses of each age and nature connected because they maintain they maintain needs to cover up uses of each identity, the ground location, originally still only capable of being live progressions. Every identity individually grouped and together, each difference of each individual group and together. Each difference of the ground has a tie to our quality of fact sheet nature. No one was watching. The ancients had sophistication that semi-ancient archetypal criminal enterprise realized they could separate humanity from while retaining it, while converting humanity to pseudo sophistication that would perpetually have nature demonstrate negative value nature acts natures and demonstration of it, negative value nature progressions and demonstration of it, and no one would be able to do anything other but defend themselves where we are quality of fact shaping nature by blaming other things, others, and selves for that, and or valuing that only having been remembered, and or valuing that being all exceptions in exception nature, which these two other identities of sequence nature that are not juxtaposed with the three identities of volume we are is the order of the value of the finite. Smallest thing from before there's an order there. There's a value of that order. This is another conversation. This is a way. It's all right. People have opinions about values and value systems. It's all right if they want to have an opinion. They're expert because they're an expert on markets positions. Those are abridged markets positions. You have to take control of what they say when they speak for what jobs their value as. When they speak for what companies are value as. They are victims, but as victim predators, further and further. They prevent people, calm means, from demonstrating how they are victims. They won't let you tell you they're victims because they're already invested. They can't afford people to start having the connected revelations that come, for example, when you follow the sequence shifts. While you follow the fake transcripts, the uses of them that kept effectively and still increasingly effective remote uses of all identity ground locations, like FBI location New Haven, their roles with AT&T, their roles with uses of that. Foreign and domestic nations fight with each other per results, per their roles with the branches and all private tied to them, with overt criminal enterprises and with the militaries and the science and the interscience further as these database relationships as all this used for this where they're using not just the sense and sensibilities but the standing volume we are that and why we are supposed to discern this, how we are individual grouped in together, how these are three identities of sequence nature. There are different things they are simultaneously, which is in demonstration of how it is in nature of volume. To describe it, there is an identity of value progression that is attached to all questions. There is one identity of value progression that all things are at the same time, distinctly, non distinctly, and simultaneously in demonstration of it, because it's invisible but still discernible. One identity of forever nature is making more of itself through temporary / lasting space nature, which is more and more identities of itself. Only the extent of it is debatable. And who debates the extent of this they are recorded. This is also evidence, but we don't have free speech, and they'll attach us to fake words. They're forcing arguments, pretended interpreted, other than they are, while simultaneously self-valuing roles with criminally foreign influence database relationships already standing each age of fact treatment nature, on and off campuses connected illusions tied to the on campuses, and on private databases illusions being stacked in there, and uses of them. That was leading up to and in the World Trade Center attack. That was leading up to and in the American Revolutionary War. The American Revolution was lost. Our founders, if they could be here now, they forget about it. Every time you open your mouths, they would start screaming because you guys start fighting. There's a calmness. The people on TV, internetwork, theater, they say, well, we have to stay calm in life. When you stay calm in life, they're attaching you to fake words. And you got there's true. There's truth to that. But when what they do also, if you stay calm, they'll attach you to fake yelling because they exploit that in context. And when they get people to yell, when the people do stay calm, even if you don't yell, they're going to pretend you yelled. Now, this is the phenomena I have the means to see this are all the people tied to former director of the FBI who are directly and indirectly involved with predicate acts at all the campuses I went to. And now that a surface value appears to be debatable. But it's not debatable when you cross check the databases and relationships to themselves. Interbranch, they've been forging names, switching names. They've been stacking falsified police reports and records into their databases in conjunction with their roles with that intercampuses of each age and uses of lie progressions from that and uses of recorded effectively how they keep juxtaposed other nature's motivations and interests for people to hide the same lies as the breaching method that leading up to the Trade Center attack in the context interbranch Connecticut and in the Ninth Circuit Court and interbranch New York in relationship to this also recorded. I've been speaking about this. They've been worse than obfuscating and hiding and committing predicate acts to lie about what is recorded in their states. Because interbranch from my town, Weathersfield, Connecticut, are many people, dozens of people from each branch of government, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with all bunch of nations, not just Saudis in the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and other Muslim families associated with the Weathersfield Library, with Weathersfield Police, and with the people involved with human trafficking with them, with medical racketeering, with database crimes with them, and with evidence crime, falsified police report rolls, in various natures of courts, and on and off of campuses, and with mail crime rolls, wire crime rolls, uses of the identity of the ground locations like UPS, sequence shifts that use whole ages, whole bunch of people that hung around with my neighbor and his cousins and his friends, like a John Mayano. I never met him till after my neighbor graduated, and I was forced to stay back, or to demonstrate, or to tell on a teacher and kids, and we've been self-defeated because they had a Mike Pandoff. They have his brothers, his family. They had a teacher who had some. She kept telling a story every year, and she kept repeating it to us about some kid who I don't know the jerked off to her through a window. I don't know what the word for that is. See, they keep such to keep sophistication that was never liberated from the intellectual, like the logic, organized crime, the legal organized crime associated with medical campuses, recorded with medical campuses originally and still through administrations. Uses roles with each science further and besides their roles with vertical and horizontal each age and nature of campus simultaneously, while for private databases our roles with this, which is kept to all locations that has also overt criminal enterprises, other nations' militaries, and everyone all bonded with and as such, as an identity of negative value nature progression. Everyone blames the causes of it on other things other than themselves. Where and how obligations by the nature of correlation nature, by our fact sheet nature, force that rather than what they're trying to force, which is our simultaneously inherent active and progressive means to demonstrate the criminally foreign influenced premises treatments and sequence treatments of all locations, areas, and states, and of all sciences further, as of and as each modern nation. All we have to do, where our value nature systems contained, not one has trained. The people who are pretending to be against, oh, you don't say that because you could hurt the markets fluctuate. See, those are people that have those markets employed. Worse than terrorism, breaching method employed, breaching screen, breaching tool, breaching weapon. Worse. All we have to do is admit it's sick. It's recorded sick. Every modern nation has a pathology of infrastructure since before cars. Then they have the people stacking from the tactically denatured. They massed everyone where no one's farming, so they could keep this negative value nature progressions, acts of natures. Not everyone, not just everyone blaming other things other than themselves. Not just defending premises treatments, criminally foreign influence, self-valued that way. Sequence treatments, criminally foreign influence, self-valued that way. Identities of jobs, titles of people, treatments, criminally foreign influence, self-valued that way. What kind of theater does that need to be keep manifest? What kind of positive does that need to pretend as practicality? I give up the drama, the fake integrity, and respond when someone asks if to have get them to one name and sequence it to branch. They have no integrity. There's no personal, nothing personal. If they have an integrity, have them say sorry now and pick one name and sequence anyway, so I could explain to the rest of the people. Because Hartford courts and New Britain courts and Middletown courts are involved, for example. Also on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices, with families also intercampuses of each age, nature, and statute, intercities and worse than just interstates, inclusion with a whole bunch of nations with all geographical differences of the ground recorded having been effectively employed by what's exploiting them as standing criminal and seditious natures, individually grouped together, self-valued, preaching employed. Boy. So they want to keep debating overall things with physical delusion, sequence shifts, the finite forsaken. We're going to examine. I want to show you this evidence. So that I'm going to show you so I can get to teaching you about Martin Luther King properly. We're not going to, the finite is critical to what is everything at once. Bach sings to campus dance with stolen name. Return each game. It only feels like game, evolution's course. I'll drop the force, Bach sings, right through fake sides. Now, Star Wars. See, people miss what they're doing with keeping positive and negative and scientific consensus and scientific process criminally foreign influenced. Uses of criminally foreign influence takes on it with a bridged world, a bridged constitution. Perfect world is a phrase involved with the private and with the interbranch, where and how they are victims by victim predators, where they are criminally foreign influence, inclusion with overt criminal enterprises, and them also with their uses of the witness protection program stewards. Also, even if they made all that stuff up, they're involved with predicate acts with child offenders with those same groups. Down, they're recorded kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active lies, progressive lies, identity theft, fraud, right, with the people involved interstates from Connecticut, intercities, and interbranch, and intercampuses, and interprivate databases relationship, same ones leading up to and in the World Trade Center attack context, directly and indirectly, not by accident. Involved with sequence shifts also inside the Ninth Circuit further. Inside as the ones further involved with predicate acts on off Central Connecticut State University, for example, and with a bunch of female judges involved with KKK themed black and white predicate acts with child sex offenders, identity theft roles. They have military police involved with them with database organized crime, mail crime roles, what drug crime roles, wire crime roles, crimes with kids, people that work with Normandy Heights, associated with Adjusta Klavinskis and Lucinda. I don't know her last name. I never saw her on that location. Never, but they're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with Central Connecticut State University interbranch with interbranch families and foreign families, and their roles with interbranch families with Facebook and with evidence reception and perception crimes. Now, Justin Klavinskis recorded, confessed, demonstrated his roles with courts and with police forums that had him make statements on my Facebook page because they're trying to establish evidence and investigate things with whole investigations and investigators themselves, the subject, and recorded criminally foreign influence already having been employed to trade center attack involved predicate acts, regardless of their motivations. They were used remotely through what is a whole bunch of other nations with criminal justice, with fake identities of law and their defenses of premises treatments of themselves with that as victims only allowed the same way to avert criminal enterprises. Victim predators, they were child abused. It's all right if they want to debate. They want to debate overall, but leave out these finite evidences. Oh, leave out the sequence shifts. Well, leave out what we were pretending with each sequence shift. Get out of here. Get down. All gather round. Who's going to be man enough, a woman enough in the branch to pick one name in sequence and help me clean it up now for you guys? Because you guys can't do it. You're too dishonest. You guys are sick. You're going to have to put a woman up, make her, you're going to give to 12 people the ability to decide if a woman should go for me, even if then you're going to give a judge the ability to go for 25 years, 45 years in jail because she tried to pay money to get her kid into school. Get down. I'll gather around. Vaccines. Not speaking about that case. None of my business. I'm speaking about this from here. Proof of it there. This came first. Those courts are involved with child abuses here. They can't move forward. They have the right. They hid this when I came to just courts. They're attaching people to fake words, fake locations. In a perfect world, their identities of titles would be worth something. The identities of titles that people they work with would be worth what they say they are, but they are not. So have them pick one name in sequence and get me the name of this officer named Darth Vader with on off Trinity College, involved also with the how they have now the on off Trinity College, on off CCSU, where they have off campus, but they also have on campus police departments. They'll have one just off campus. This is tied to the distinctions of the grounds. I'll get around with the people that are into uses of that by the people through time involved with predicate acts, illusions. I walked by, they had me go by Trinity College when I was a kid in high school. Now those are the people that they pretended they use that like fun words. I don't know those Olsen brothers. They were involved with people like Mendez brothers, also recorded involved with predicate acts on and off Trinity College, on and off child sex offenders campus, child campuses with resource officers, and as them with resource officers retired and standing involved with drug crimes, untimely deaths, uses of them for other natures of organized crime with the FBI, CIA, other nations' families, and police forms and military, foreign, and domestic. I forgot what was it. There's more there. Just says all we need is recorded. Just respond for me. Respond for them lying about what is recorded of the phones. Lying about their uses of interbranch Facebook pages and of the intercampuses Facebook pages stewards to hide their organized crime acts, to hide their child abuses. Same ones involved with elderly homes criminally. Get me a response. Now there are two Corona brothers I barely know. They're trying to make it look like it's I have a personal differences with them. That's tied to the three Connecticut media, WFSB, WTNH, WFS, and Fox Connecticut News recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they were influenced to make me look bad, to make up things about me and little kids, attach me and little kids and their parents and their family members to fake locations. And then they hid the lies and progressions with that after with the child sex offender. Then more of them then recorded then, brought up also by untimely deaths on off campuses, intercities tied. Also, people with the child sex offenders grammar school in my town, intercities recorded, confessed, and demonstrated through time involved crimes with all kinds of child abuses with kids in elderly homes associated with people associated with Alina's Pizza and with the Lance Cuddy and his brothers and people associated with them with the house in my area with a Phil Cololo. Also with these two Mendez police and the Yagman family involved with predicate acts and wrongdoing and with wire crime rolls, mail crime rolls, and child abuses rolls with identity thefts in the form of identity thefts, frauds, and time impositions, where they're attaching little kids to fake relationships and locations with people they don't even know from their schools. They don't even see them on the campus ever the entire time. And then years later, they're pretending other criminally, attaching me to fake words with their brothers and stuff like that. Their brother, mother, get them on paper now into branch. Play these games. You guys sick fake punks. You want to be victims, then follow the rules. Or I'm going to reveal you as the victim predator you already are to an extent. And we're going to get your name to one name in sequence while you're getting down. And we're going to need federal stewardships of Connecticut now. And you have all these other foreign and domestic nations. You have like Muslim nations. You have mosques involved with your racketeering with the same people through the with the religious spots you kept involved with it. You got women judges involved as evidences with their organized crime acts and roles with organized crime acts with kids are evidences. They want to debate if their acts were organized crime. Bring in the sequence shifts. They have no right to put sequence shifts, attach little kids and their family members to roles, attaching us to fake locations, fake words, fake relationships to others. They use they use the crime method of pretending people make conspiracy theories. Pick one name in sequence. They confess this interbranch. They also forge and switch names. And you go there and you say nothing like you're told. They attach you to fake words. They attach you to fake locate for falsified people. They confess this too. That's how they threaten. That's how they're also involved with behavior crimes. Now these are other natures of evidences also. The sequence shift, follow the sequence shifts. You'll see all kinds of behavior predators. We have some sick, worse than the most killers. So pathologically sick fake punk groups individually grouped together against strangers. Against strangers. That's also with the narrative in the paper where they said, "Oh, we go up to people like that, pretending we know them." Where they caught off campus, reportedly per them, and recorded actually the news with the principal child offenders campus. That's also tied to houses on Two Rod Highway, associated with Phil Cologne years ago. Confessions related to a guy who was, I don't know if he was talking about a Mexican bean, making a joke about it or something like that with a Spada family, who's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with judges of various natures of the same courts and of other courts, with their family members and people tied to them, like prosecutors and all the people with those courts. They have been using that as a weapon to hide their live aggressions from real bad crimes inter campuses and on off them. So get now me a response into branch. Don't keep it going with the kids. And they're investing the town needing to owe too much money to too many parents, and they're making those parents roles so they can keep their everyone. Oh, well, let's make it opinions. That's voting. That's democracy. Get out of here. You follow mandated law. You let the republic go. We need federal stewardships of Connecticut right now. All right. Yes.